Did you know that the secret to transforming your biggest struggles into your greatest triumphs was discovered over 2,000 years ago? Imagine standing in the middle of chaos, the world shouting, plans collapsing, people disappointing, and yet you remain unshaken. Your mind calm, your heart centered, your purpose clear. That isn't fantasy, it's Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that began in the crowded marketplaces of Athens and the marble halls of Rome, and yet feels more relevant in today's anxious, unpredictable world than ever before. The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, didn't talk about philosophy for the sake of cleverness. They lived it. They believed that peace doesn't come from controlling life's events, but from mastering our reactions to them. In the world where uncertainty seems endless, their wisdom is the anchor we've been searching for. This isn't just about reading old books or quoting ancient sages. It's about reclaiming our power, not over the world, but over ourselves. It's about building resilience, discipline, and clarity in a time that desperately needs it. So, if you've ever felt overwhelmed by stress, lost in comparison, or trapped in cycles of frustration, this is your moment to learn how the Stoics would have faced it all. Calmly, wisely, and with unbreakable strength. Let's begin. Lesson 1. Focus on what you can control. Imagine how much lighter life would feel if you stopped trying to control everything, the opinions of others, the outcome of every situation, even the passage of time itself. The Stoics discovered over 2,000 years ago that peace is not found in the ability to control the world, but in the wisdom to control your response to it. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." It's easy to read that line and nod, much harder to live it, but the truth is, every day we are given hundreds of small opportunities to practice it. A rude comment online, a delayed train, a difficult conversation, an unexpected disappointment. You cannot stop these things from happening, but you can decide how they will shape you. When you react with frustration, you hand over your power. When you respond with calm, you reclaim it. Think about it. The weather, traffic, other people's actions, all outside your control. Your mindset, your words, your choices, those belong to you entirely. And what you choose in that space determines the quality of your life. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome and one of the most powerful men in history, wrote in his private journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This was not poetry to him. It was survival. He faced betrayal, war, loss, and illness. Yet he returned again and again to that truth. The world outside can shake, but the mind can remain still. Modern psychology now proves what the Stoics intuited centuries ago. Cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the most effective modern therapies, is built on the same principle. You can't always change your circumstances, but you can change how you interpret and respond to them. So, the next time frustration rises, pause. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is yes, act with focus. If it's no, release it with grace. This is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's how you stop being a prisoner of circumstance and become the master of yourself. And with each small choice, every time you choose calm over chaos, patience over panic, you train your mind to stay steady no matter what storms come your way. Because the Stoic life isn't about avoiding the storm, it's about learning to stand firm within it. Lesson 2, turn obstacles into opportunities. Every obstacle you face hides a lesson, a seed of growth that only reveals itself to those who look closely. To the Stoics, there were no bad situations, only situations that test and refine us. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This single line captures the Stoic secret to resilience. It means that every difficulty is also a direction, a chance to evolve. When something blocks your path, you have two choices. You can curse the stone beneath your feet, or you can use it as a stepping stone to climb higher. Think of Thomas Edison. who failed 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb, or Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison only to emerge stronger, wiser, and more compassionate than before. They didn't escape obstacles, they used them. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. If you never encounter resistance, you never grow strong. Every setback is an invitation, not to quit, but to adapt." Epictetus, born a slave, crippled from birth, became one of the greatest teachers of philosophy. He understood that life's harshness can either harden you or polish you. It depends on how you face it. Here's how you can apply this today. When something goes wrong, a rejection, a failure, a delay, ask yourself, how can this serve me? What skill, what strength, what wisdom can I build here? Maybe that rejection teaches patience. Maybe that mistake teaches humility. Maybe that heartbreak opens your capacity for empathy. Marcus Aurelius saw it clearly. A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it. You are that fire, and the more life throws at you, the brighter you can burn. If you choose to, obstacles will always come. But with the Stoic mindset, they no longer block your path, they become it. Lesson 3, live in the present moment. We hear it all the time. Be present, but what does that truly mean? To live in the present is to fully inhabit the only time that actually exists. Now, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not dwell in the past or dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." Our suffering often comes not from what is happening, but from what our minds add to it. We replay old wounds or anticipate future pain. Mind drags us into battles that don't exist, and the present moment slips away unseen. The Stoics taught that the present moment is where life truly unfolds, where peace resides, and where virtue can be practiced. Seneca observed, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. When you are here, fully here, even the simplest moments become profound. The taste of water, the sound of rain, the feeling of breath entering and leaving your lungs. This is life, not yesterday, not tomorrow, but this very instant." Modern mindfulness practices echo Stoic wisdom. Attention is the key to joy. You cannot be grateful for a life you're not paying attention to. Here's a simple Stoic exercise. Whenever your mind drifts to regret, to worry, to fantasy, gently bring it back. Notice your surroundings, feel your body, listen to the rhythm of your breath. This moment is all you truly own. The past is memory. The future is imagination. The present is existence, vivid, fleeting, sacred, and if you can live it fully, you will find that peace was never missing. It was always waiting for you, right here, in the now. Lesson 4, the power of self-discipline. Most people misunderstand discipline. They think it's restriction, rules, denial, punishment. But the Stoics saw discipline as freedom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Si te so." You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Self-discipline is that power in action. It's the quiet mastery of the self, the ability to guide your impulses instead of being guided by them. Every act of discipline is a declaration. I serve my values, not my urges. Seneca said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The person without discipline is like a leaf in the wind, moved by every emotion, every temptation, every distraction. The disciplined person, by contrast, is the tree rooted steady, unshaken by passing storms. In a world of endless noise and instant gratification, discipline becomes your shield. It allows you to stay focused when others drift, to work when others complain, to endure when others quit. Start small, wake at the same time every day. Read instead of scrolling. Move your body. Keep your promises, especially to yourself. Each time you do, you strengthen the muscle of willpower, and like any muscle, it grows with consistent use. Aristotle taught, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. The Stoics understood this long before science confirmed it. Habits shape identity, actions, repeated daily. Of character, modern neuroscience agrees. Consistency reprograms the brain. Discipline isn't about force. It's about alignment. It's living in harmony with your higher self rather than your lower impulses. So when you're tempted to quit, ask, who do I want to become? Every small act is a vote for that person. Discipline, in the end, is love for your future self. And through it, you create not a perfect life, but a purposeful one. Lesson 5. Build emotional resilience. Life will break your heart, test your patience, and push you to the edge. But resilience, true Stoic resilience, isn't about avoiding pain. It's about learning to rise through it with calm, clarity, and strength. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He wasn't telling us to suppress emotions. He was teaching us to understand and guide them. Anger, sadness, fear, these are not enemies. They're messengers. They point to what we value, to what we fear losing, to what we still need to heal. Emotional resilience means allowing yourself to feel, but not to fall apart. It's the quiet art of staying centered when everything around you trembles. Imagine two trees in a storm. One rigid, one flexible. The rigid one snaps under pressure. The flexible one bends and survives. That's resilience, flexibility rooted in strength. Seneca said, "Fire tests gold, adversity tests the brave. Each hardship you face, each heartbreak you endure is a refining fire." The Stoics didn't run from discomfort. They used it as training. They believed every challenge was an opportunity to become wiser, calmer, and more grounded. When life shakes you, pause. Take a breath, a deep one. Observe your emotions like waves rising and falling. You don't have to fight them. Just don't let them carry you away. Modern psychology echoes this. Emotions are data, not directions. They inform, but they don't have to command. By acknowledging what you feel without judgment, you reclaim your power. Here's a simple Stoic exercise. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, say silently to yourself, "This feeling is temporary. It does not define me. It will pass." Then ask, "What can I learn from this?" Maybe your anger teaches you what boundaries you've neglected. Maybe your sadness reveals what truly matters to you. Maybe your fear reminds you to prepare, not panic. Resilience is not about smiling through pain. It's about trusting that pain will not destroy you. You are not fragile. You are human, and within that humanity lies an unshakable strength waiting to be remembered. Lesson 6. Memento mori. Remember you will die. There is a truth most people run from, but the Stoics ran toward it. That truth is death. Memento mori means remember that you will die. At first it sounds dark, but to the Stoic, it was light, the kind of light that clarifies what really matters. Marcus Aurelius reflected, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. To remember death is not to fear it. It's to awaken to life. Every sunrise becomes a gift. Every conversation sacred. Every small act meaningful." Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." He reminded us that time is our most precious possession, yet we spend it carelessly, scrolling, complaining, postponing our dreams. Memento mori is a call to stop waiting and start living. Think about it. If this were your last week, what would you do differently? Would you speak more kindly? Would you forgive faster? Would you pursue what truly lights your soul? The Stoics used this thought not to sink into despair, but to rise into gratitude. They knew that the awareness of death sharpens appreciation for life. When you live with death in mind, every day becomes a masterpiece. You no longer chase meaningless validation or waste time on petty arguments. You start saying, "I love you" more. You listen longer. You notice the color of the sky. Modern research confirms this ancient truth. Reflecting on mortality reduces anxiety and increases gratitude. Why? Because it pulls you into the now. It reminds you that the future is not promised, and that your only real home is this moment. So the Stoics carried death on their shoulder, not as a curse, but as a compass. It guided them toward purpose. You too can live like that. You don't need to fear the end. You need to fear not beginning. Say what must be said. Do what must be done. Love who must be loved, because one day you won't get another sunrise, and that is exactly what makes this one holy. Lesson 7. Practice daily gratitude. Gratitude is not an occasional feeling. It's a daily practice of awakening. It's the act of saying thank you, not just with your lips, but with your attention. Marcus Aurelius began each morning reminding himself that life itself was a privilege. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Gratitude grounds you. It reminds you that even amid struggle, you are surrounded by small miracles: warmth, air, connection, hope. The Stoics saw gratitude as a defense against despair. They believed unhappiness comes not from having too little, but from forgetting how much we already have. Seneca wrote, He who is not contented with what he has would not be contented with what he would like to have. Gratitude shifts the focus from lack to abundance. It turns ordinary days into blessings and hardships into lessons. Try this at night. Write down 3 things you are grateful for. One can be simple: a cup of tea, a friend's smile, a quiet sunset. Then reflect, why did these moments matter to me today? As you do this night after night, your mind starts to change. You begin to notice beauty where others see boredom, meaning where others see monotony. Gratitude reprograms your perception. Modern neuroscience proves this. Consistent gratitude practice increases serotonin, the happiness hormone, and strengthens emotional resilience. But Stoic gratitude is deeper than a list. It's an attitude. It's waking up thankful even when things aren't perfect. It's saying, yes, this is hard, and yet I am alive. I still have a chance. When you anchor yourself in gratitude, you stop being a victim of circumstance. You become a participant in life, someone who sees the gift inside the struggle. Every breath is borrowed, every sunrise is a reminder, and every moment you appreciate becomes a quiet act of worship to existence itself. Lesson 8. Pursue personal excellence. The Stoics believed that the highest purpose of life was to strive toward virtue, to live with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. This pursuit of excellence wasn't about competition with others. It was a lifelong refinement of one's own character. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." He meant that the world doesn't need more words, it needs examples. Excellence is not perfection. It's progress guided by purpose. Seneca reminded us that character is built in small, invisible moments, the times no one is watching. He said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." That's the truth of personal excellence. It's not achieved in comfort, but in challenge. It's shaped in the way you respond when things go wrong, how you speak when others gossip, how you act when it would be easier to do nothing. Excellence requires intention. It means asking yourself daily, am I acting according to my values or my impulses? Epictetus taught his students to live in harmony with their nature, to pursue reason, kindness, and discipline above all. He said that the only true good lies in our moral choices, and the only true failure is the corruption of our character. Aristotle described excellence as a habit, a pattern of behavior repeated until it becomes who you are. So the Stoic approach is simple. Practice what you admire. If you value patience, act patiently. If you value honesty, speak truthfully, even when it costs you. If you value courage, face fear instead of fleeing from it. In a world chasing applause, Stoic excellence is quiet. It doesn't need recognition. It needs alignment, when your words, actions, and values all point in the same direction. That's when you feel peace. And remember, excellence isn't a destination, it's a road, one you walk every single day. With each step, you become a little wiser, a little stronger, a little freer. That's the Stoic way. Not to be flawless, but to be faithful to your principles, even when no one else is watching. Lesson 9, be true to yourself and stop seeking approval. One of the greatest prisons we build is the fear of what others think. We let opinions shape our choices, our words, even our dreams. But the Stoics knew that true freedom begins the moment you stop needing permission to be yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "I have often wondered how every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, yet sets less value on his own opinion than on the opinions of others." This simple sentence holds a mirror to our lives. We claim to love ourselves, yet we constantly seek validation from the crowd, from likes, comments, attention, and approval. And in doing so, we hand over the keys to our peace. Seneca taught that the wise person does not live by the applause of others, but by the approval of their own conscience. He said, "You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire." In other words, we chase external success as if we'll live forever, while neglecting the inner peace that truly matters. Epictetus reminded his students that what other people think is not within our control, and therefore not worth our concern. He taught, if you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid, because when you walk the path of truth, the crowd will misunderstand. But here's the secret. Their misunderstanding changes nothing. You are not here to please everyone. You are here to live in harmony with your own principles. Being true to yourself doesn't mean ignoring advice or rejecting connection. It means not betraying your values for approval. It's about saying no when your heart whispers no, even if your voice shakes. It's about walking alone when integrity demands it. The Stoics understood that self-respect is the foundation of peace. If you lose the approval of the world but keep your honor, you've lost nothing. If you win the world's praise but lose your soul, you've lost everything. Modern psychology calls this authenticity, the alignment between your inner world and your outer behavior. When you are authentic, your actions arise from clarity, not fear. You stop performing and start living, so the next time you feel the pull of approval, pause and ask, if no one were watching, would I still do this? That's your answer. Be loyal to your inner compass. It's the only approval that will ever bring you peace. Lesson 10. Accept. Change with grace. Change is the heartbeat of life. Everything moves, shifts, evolves, whether we want it to or not. The Stoics taught that resisting change is the root of suffering, while accepting it brings serenity. Marcus Aurelius said, "Accept whatever comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny. For what could more aptly fit your needs?" To resist change is to resist reality itself. You can wish for things to stay the same, but the universe will keep flowing, indifferent to your comfort. The seasons change, people change, you change. The more you fight it, the more life drags you. The moment you surrender to it, life begins to dance with you. Seneca warned that clinging to the past or fearing the future only multiplies pain. He said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Loss and renewal are inseparable. One makes room for the other." Epictetus added that while we can't control what changes around us, we can always control how we respond. He encouraged us to say to every unexpected event, "I have chosen this." Not because we truly wanted it, but because we choose to learn from it. Change is not the enemy. Resistance is. It is in the shifting, the uncertainty, the breaking and rebuilding that we discover who we really are. Think of nature. The caterpillar dissolves to become a butterfly. The forest burns to grow anew. So too must we let parts of ourselves fall away to become what we are meant to be. Modern science echoes this wisdom. The brain thrives on adaptation. Growth happens through discomfort. The more we embrace change, the stronger and more flexible we become. So when life moves you into a new chapter, even if it feels unfamiliar, don't resist it. Pause, trust, flow. Whisper to yourself, this change is not taking something from me. It is giving me a chance to become more. You cannot stop the waves, but you can learn to surf them. That's the Stoic art of transformation. Lesson 11, practice compassion and empathy. We live in a world that often rewards competition over connection, but the Stoics understood that the strength of the individual depends on the harmony of the whole. They believed that kindness and understanding are not soft virtues, they are the highest forms of wisdom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." We are all part of the same hive, humanity. To harm another is to harm ourselves. To help another is to heal ourselves. Seneca taught that every act of compassion strengthens the soul. He said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. Even the smallest gesture, a gentle word, a moment of patience, a listening ear, can become the spark that lights another's darkness." Epictetus reminded us that people do wrong not because they are evil, but because they are ignorant of good. He taught that when others act cruelly, we should see their behavior as the result of confusion, not malice. This doesn't mean accepting injustice. It means responding to ignorance with understanding, not hatred. Modern psychology confirms what the Stoics knew. Compassion reduces stress, deepens relationships, and increases happiness. Empathy is not just emotional, it's physiological. It calms the body and quiets the mind. Practicing compassion begins with awareness. When someone irritates you, pause, ask, what pain might they be carrying? When someone fails you, ask, what fear might have led them here? To live with compassion is to see through the eyes of others, to understand that we are all struggling, learning, hoping. We are all flawed mirrors reflecting the same light. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning, "Today you will meet people who are selfish, ungrateful, deceitful, but I will not be harmed by them, for they are my brothers." That is the essence of Stoic empathy: strength without cruelty, wisdom without arrogance, love without weakness. So be kind, not because the world deserves it, but because you do. Compassion is the highest form of courage. It transforms pain into purpose and makes you a light in a darkened world. Lesson 12. Reflect and review daily at the end of each day. When silence settles and the world slows down, the Stoic turns inward. This is the sacred ritual of reflection, a conversation with the self. Marcus Aurelius practiced this nightly. He reviewed his words, actions, and thoughts, writing them in his journal, the book we now know as Meditations. He didn't write to impress others. He wrote to align his life with his principles. He asked himself, what did I do well today? What did I do poorly? What could I do better tomorrow? Seneca recommended the same practice. He called it self-accounting, comparing it to balancing the mind's ledger. He wrote, "Each night I examine my entire day and go over what I have done and said. Nothing slips by me. I hide nothing from myself." Epictetus encouraged reflection not as a punishment, but as progress. He believed that by observing ourselves honestly, we could refine our souls like craftsmen perfecting their art. This practice is simple but transformative. Before bed, close your eyes, replay your day. Don't judge, just observe. See where you lived with wisdom, where you fell short and what you can improve. Write it down if you can. Writing crystallizes clarity. Over time, these reflections become a map, a record of your evolution. Modern science agrees. Reflection strengthens emotional intelligence, increases self-awareness, and improves mental well-being. When you review your life daily, you stop sleepwalking through it. You become deliberate, intentional, awake. Remember, wisdom doesn't come from experience alone, it comes from examined experience. Each night you reflect, you plant seeds for a better tomorrow, and each morning those seeds bloom into a stronger, calmer, wiser you. So end every day as the Stoics did, not in distraction, but in reflection. Ask yourself not, was today easy, but was today meaningful? Because meaning, not comfort, is the true measure of a life well lived. Lesson 13, detachment, the art of letting go. There's a quiet strength in letting go, not in giving up, but in releasing your grip on what was never truly yours. The Stoics called this detachment not because they wanted us to stop caring, but because they wanted us to care wisely. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment. Everything you hold, your possessions, your titles, even the people you love, is temporary. To love deeply and still be ready to release, that is the mark of a free mind." Seneca said, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." So much of our pain is born not from loss itself, but from clinging to what must change. We grasp at moments, at people, at memories, afraid to let them fade. But the Stoic sees the world as a constant flow. To hold on too tightly is to fight against nature itself. Detachment is not coldness, it's clarity, it's understanding that what you enjoy now, the laughter of a friend, the warmth of a morning sun, the comfort of a home, is a gift borrowed, not owned, and that when the time comes to give it back, you can do so with gratitude instead of grief. Epictetus reminded his students that when you kiss your child, your friend, your partner, you should whisper to yourself, "You are mortal," not to diminish love, but to deepen it. Because when you remember impermanence, you love more fiercely, forgive faster, and appreciate more fully. Modern psychology calls this radical acceptance, the ability to embrace life as it is, not as we wish it to be. When we practice this, we stop resisting reality and start flowing with it. So when life asks you to release a relationship, a dream, a chapter, don't close your heart in bitterness. Open it in trust. Letting go is not losing. It's making space for what's next. As the Buddha said, "You only lose what you cling to." And the Stoics would agree. Freedom is not found in holding tighter, but in learning to open your hands. Remember this: what is meant for you will stay effortlessly. What leaves was never yours to keep. Breathe deeply, let it go, and feel how light your soul becomes when you stop carrying what you were never meant to hold. Lesson 14. Live with purpose and intention without direction. Even strength is wasted. The Stoics believed that a life without purpose is like a ship without a compass, drifting wherever the wind blows. But when you know your why, every storm becomes navigable. Marcus Aurelius said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions. Purpose gives meaning to suffering, courage to fear, and structure to chaos. It's what transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary legacies." Seneca wrote, "If one does not know to which port one is sailing, the wind is favorable." How many of us are caught in that drift, busy but directionless? We chase goals that don't satisfy us and run from silence because it reminds us of what's missing. The Stoic path begins by asking one simple question: what is within my power, and how can I use it for good? For Marcus Aurelius, that meant ruling with justice and humility. For Epictetus, it meant teaching wisdom despite poverty and disability. For you, it might mean creating, helping, learning, or simply living with kindness. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be yours. It's found in the consistency of small, meaningful acts, doing your work well, being present for loved ones, making each day count. Modern science confirms that people who live with purpose experience greater happiness, better health, and deeper fulfillment. Purpose gives the mind a direction, and the soul a reason to keep going, even when life feels heavy. The Stoics taught that virtue, wisdom, Courage, justice, and temperance is the highest form of purpose. To live virtuously is to align your life with reason, nature, and compassion. Everything else fades. Virtue endures. So ask yourself, if I died tomorrow, what would I be proud to have stood for? Let that guide your decisions. Wake each day not with dread, but with direction. You don't need to know the whole path. Just take one honest step forward, because the Stoic doesn't wait for purpose to arrive. He creates it, moment by moment, choice by choice. And when you live with intention, you discover that peace isn't the absence of pain, it's the presence of meaning. Take a deep breath. You've just traveled through the wisdom of centuries, 14 timeless lessons that have survived empires, wars, and generations. And yet, they're not just ancient ideas carved into marble or lost in dusty scrolls. They are living truths, breathing through every decision you make, every storm you face, every sunrise you greet. Stoicism isn't a philosophy locked in books. It's a way of being. It's the quiet courage to remain calm when life screams chaos. It's the choice to act with virtue when the world invites you to compromise. It's the strength to forgive, to adapt, to let go, and to keep walking with purpose even when the road disappears beneath your feet. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet his greatest conquest was his own mind. Seneca was surrounded by wealth and power, yet he found peace in simplicity. Epictetus was born a slave, yet he taught the world about freedom, not freedom from chains, but freedom from fear. Their lives remind us true power doesn't come from fortune, fame, or control. It comes from self-mastery, from knowing yourself, accepting yourself, and refining yourself every single day. Look back at the lessons we've shared. You learned to focus only on what's within your control, to turn obstacles into opportunities, to live in the present moment instead of drowning in what if. You learned the discipline to choose what's right over what's easy, the resilience to face pain with dignity, the gratitude to see blessings where others see burdens, the courage to live with authenticity, not for approval, and the wisdom to find purpose, compassion, and peace in the simple act of being alive. Now ask yourself, what will you do with this knowledge? Because philosophy means nothing if it stays on the page. It must be lived, it must be practiced, it must be felt in your words, your habits, your choices. Wake tomorrow not as the person you were yesterday, but as someone reborn, a little stronger, a little calmer, a little freer. When life tests you, remember, the Stoic doesn't avoid storms. He learns to stand in the rain, steady and silent, knowing the storm will pass and the sky will clear. Every challenge is a chance to practice what you've learned. When anger rises, choose patience. When fear whispers, choose courage. When loss strikes, choose gratitude. And when the noise of the world overwhelms you, retreat inward to that quiet temple within your mind where no chaos can touch you. There, you'll find peace, not the fragile peace that depends on comfort or approval, but the unshakable peace that grows from understanding yourself. Because in the end, Stoicism is not about rejecting life. It's about embracing it completely. Every pain, every joy, every fleeting moment. It's about seeing life not as something that happens to you, but something that happens for you. An opportunity to live with reason, love, and grace. So, take these 14 lessons and make them part of your story. Don't rush to master them. Live them, slowly, deliberately, one sunrise at a time. And remember, you have walked beside Marcus Aurelius. You have listened to Seneca. You have learned from Epictetus. But now, it's your turn. You are the philosopher of your own life. You are the emperor of your own mind. When you rise tomorrow morning, stand tall. Face the day not with fear, but with focus. Not with bitterness, but with balance. Not with haste, but with harmony. Because your journey, this life, this breath, this very moment is sacred, and when you walk it with virtue, you walk it like a Stoic. Before you go, if this journey spoke to you, if it touched even one corner of your heart, then don't let it end here. Subscribe to The Calm Stoic, where every week we uncover deeper lessons, stories, and reflections from Stoic philosophy to help you master the art of living. Like this video, if it inspired you, share your thoughts, your reflections, your struggles, because your voice matters here. You're not just watching, you're part of a community built on wisdom, resilience, and peace. So until we meet again, live with intention, act with virtue, and never forget, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. See you soon, philosopher.